Hello there, everyone. My name's Andrew.
And I'm Kassy.
And this is the Culips English Podcast. Hello, and welcome to Simplified Speech, the Culips series where you can learn English through fun, interesting, and easy to understand conversations between two native speakers. Today, I'm going to kick this episode off by myself, and then just a little bit later, I'll be joined by my co-host Kassy, and we're going to talk all about Kassy's special summer vacation plans. But before we get to that conversation, I have a few announcements that I want to share with you. First of all, there's a helpful study guide that accompanies this episode, and it includes a full interactive transcript, vocabulary explanations and examples, a quiz, and discussion prompts that you could use for speaking practice or for writing an English journal or diary. If you'd like to get the study guide, you need to be a Culips member, and you can sign up and join Culips as a member just by visiting our website, culips.com, or by following the link in the description for this episode. And as a Culips member, you'll not only get the study guides for all of our episodes, which includes hundreds and hundreds of episodes, but also you'll get a lot of extras as well. Things like invitations to our monthly member-only live streams, access to our members-only series, the Fluency Files. You'll get ad-free audio plus special bonus content as well. So, for example, for this episode that you'll hear today, Kassy and I recorded some extra bonus content at the end, and we're going to share that only with our members, just as a way to say thanks for their support, because without our member community, Culips wouldn't exist. So if you'd like to learn more and become a member, once again, just visit our website, culips.com, and you can do that. The second announcement that I'd like to share with you is about our brand new Discord server. We recently launched the server, and we already have over 600 Culips listeners who have joined us there, and it's awesome. It's a real global community. We have people from all over the world at all different levels of English and all different interests and backgrounds. It's just amazing. We've been having some really interesting conversations on Discord together and are practicing our English together over there, writing messages, but also speaking. And I've been so happy to see many people practicing their English speaking in some of the voice chat rooms. And in fact, I've even been hopping into some of the voice chat rooms from time to time to talk with some of you as well. And that's been really fun. So if you haven't joined us on Discord yet, then please come join in on the fun, and it's totally free, of course, and you can join just by following the links in the description for this episode. One more thing before we get started, I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners from Russia named Alex, who left us a wonderful review this week on Apple Podcasts. Now, Alex wrote, "Hey guys, thanks a lot for making this podcast. I feel that every episode is made with love and care, and I believe that you really enjoy your work and are trying your best for listeners. I love the quality of each episode, the sound, plan, topics, voices, vocabulary, and pronunciation. I used to hate listening, but with you, I love it so much now. Thank you for your work." Wow, what an amazing review. Thank you so much for that amazing, amazing review, Alex. And I'm really thankful that you picked up on the passion in our voices. And it's totally true that we really do put our all into producing Culips. And I'm happy that you picked up on that. And I'm also really happy to hear that you've been able to start enjoying English listening through Culips. That just made my day to read that. So thanks for that review. And I have to say thanks to everyone who has been leaving us 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts or whatever app that you use to listen to Culips. That support goes a long way for helping other English listeners from around the world find Culips, connect with us, and ultimately improve their English with us. So keep the reviews coming, please. It really does help us out. So those are the announcements that I wanted to share with you all. And now, why don't we get to my conversation with Kassy about her summer vacation plans? Let's check that out together right now. Kassy, let's get started with our main topic of conversation for today, which is your upcoming volunteer experience that you're going to be doing this summer. I told you before we started recording that I didn't want to talk about this with you at all so that I can hear this story fresh for the first time while we are recording here on Culips. So really, I have no idea about what you're going to be doing, and I'm happy that I can finally get to hear all the details right now. I'm dying to know. So Kassy, could you kind of break it down for us and tell us about your upcoming volunteer experience that you'll be doing? What's going on exactly?
Sure. So this isn't a typical volunteer experience that you might imagine in your head where it's all selfless. For example, maybe a Peace Corps trip or something through a church. I'm volunteering specifically for kind of a bartering reason. My husband and I are traveling to Europe this summer, and listeners probably know, Europe is amazing, but very expensive. So we wanted to try to stay longer, but we didn't want to go, crazy over budget. So I'd heard of these programs where you can volunteer your time for a few hours a day, and in turn, you can stay at that place that you volunteer at for free room and board. So free housing and meals.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. So you work for a couple of hours a day, and in return for your labor and your work, you get to stay for free and eat for free at an eco lodge?
Yeah, exactly. So the place where I'm staying is this cool eco lodge in Scotland. But the programs that I'm most familiar with, there's 3 programs. There's one called Woofing, there's one called Workaway, and there's one called World Packers. Woofing is probably the most famous, and that is where you work pretty much exclusively in organic farms around the world. Maybe you help pick fruit or milk cows or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other 2 I mentioned, Workaway and World Packers, these are kind of interesting because you can find volunteer positions in a bunch of different sectors. You could work in a hostel, checking in other guests and cleaning bed sheets and things like that. You could work in, some sort of construction thing where you help somebody renovate their place that they want to eventually bring guests in for. You could work at a campsite. You could work in an Airbnb or in the kitchens of somebody's small restaurant in a tiny village. Yeah, the sky's the limit.
That's really cool. It sounds like a really interesting experience, and I'm happy that you're doing this, Kassy. It sounds like something that I should have done when I was younger and didn't do, so it's cool that you are getting to do this experience now. Is there a reason why you chose Scotland over some other European country?
No, it was kind of, honestly, spur of the moment. We planned to go to certain countries in Europe, and we were kind of planning this last minute, and I knew there were a few countries that I'd love to try to volunteer in, but the competition with other people who want to do this is quite high, especially in July. So I just applied to a few places that stuck out to me, that I liked their webpage, and the hosts seemed very kind and nice. And the one that I ended up getting was in Scotland, and I'm super excited. That was one of my favorite ones. So luckily we did get the one I wanted. But if we ended up in Germany or Italy, which I've also applied to, we would have gone there.
Have you ever been to Scotland before, or will this be your first time visiting there?
Yeah, I have not. My sister lived there for 6 months as an exchange student, but I was working in Korea at the time. I couldn't visit, so I'm very excited to have my own Scottish adventure.
And what about this Echo Lodge that you'll be staying at? Could you explain that a little bit more? Like, I've heard this phrase before, eco lodge, but I'm not exactly sure 100% what that means. And maybe some of our listeners are in the same boat as me. What does it mean? What kind of place is an eco lodge?
Yeah, I don't know too much about it yet, but I do know that the people that run it is a family, and the lands are their estate that they've owned for, hundreds of years. This family has lived there for generations. But in the recent, I don't know, couple of decades, they've turned their estate into a wetland specifically for wildlife and beavers, which were becoming extinct in Scotland, I guess, due to hunting of something of the sort. So, yes, they have like wild beavers and pigs and cows, which is super cute. And they also have some lodges and yurts that they invite guests to come stay at like an Airbnb opportunity in the wetlands. So my husband and I will be helping to prepare the lodging for guests that come and stay.
Okay. So do you know exactly what kind of work that you're going to have to be doing? Like, I imagine you'll kind of be like a hotel cleaning person or maid. Is that the kind of responsibilities that you think you'll have? Or will you be taking care of some of the farm animals as well?
Yeah, I have no idea. Probably we won't be doing too much crazy work because they don't know us super well. They don't know what we're like good at. I've never done farm stuff, so I'm playing it by ear now. This is my first time doing something like this, so I'm hoping it goes well. I read a review of a girl who was there last month who really enjoyed it, and based on that, I'm just going for it. The site that I use to find this opportunity is called World Packers. And what's cool about this site is, you could look through the profiles of each person giving the jobs, and then you can also look through all of the reviews they've received from people that have volunteered for them in the past. And you could message those past volunteers and ask them questions like, did you communicate well with this person? How was the housing? Was it a good fit for you? So I have not messaged yet, but I think this kind of site is so great for a way to travel on a budget and then also experience something really local compared to just, visiting tourist sites in the countries that you're visiting.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like a really interesting way to get to know that country really closely and have a totally different experience than you would if you were just a tourist staying in a hotel and visiting the local attractions, right? That's really cool. Give you a really inside look into the country, I think.
Yeah. What else is cool? Let's see. You can search by times. So if, you only have 2 weeks that you can spend doing this volunteer kind of thing, then you could search. I only want to find locations that are accepting applicants who can stay 2 weeks minimum, or maybe even a few days. Or you can find long-term positions. Maybe you took off work or college for the summer and you want to go volunteer on a farm or in a hostel in one city for several weeks to a few months. You could search for that too. There are some opportunities that they really want you to come for long periods of time so that they can train you once and then, let you go independently.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So do you know how many hours a day you'll be volunteering? Like, I imagine that you're not going to be putting in 40-hour work weeks, or else there'd be really no reason to go, right? Like, you're going to a foreign country, you want to have some time to do some sightseeing and to experience life outside of the Eco Lodge. Will you just be like kind of working in the morning and then you'll have the afternoons and evenings free to yourself, that sort of setup?
Yeah, I think most places are about 20 hours a week, so 4 or 5 hours a day. And usually it's like maybe 8 to 1 or an evening shift. And then 2 days off a week so that we can go travel further And then the cool part about this place is it's a wetland, so there's probably dozens of really cool hiking and walking trails that we can go on after we've finished our shift during the day.
Make sure you bring some good boots with you. I feel like in Scotland, in the wetlands, you might need some rain boots there with you. Do you have like a bucket list of things that you want to do while you're in Europe?
Yeah, I want to eat so much food. We're doing a short jaunt to Italy, which I've never been to, but whenever I think of Italy, I think of amazing pastas and wine and gelato, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're lucky. I'm jealous already of this kind of this trip that you're going to be doing. Kassy, before we wrap up here, I just want you to project into the future and imagine yourself, working, volunteering at the Echo Lodge. And I'm thinking of the potential benefits and potential downsides to this kind of travel experience. What do you think some of the benefits you'll experience are going to be?
I think the benefits are that we can, like I said before, get really immersed in that one part of this new country I've never visited and meet a real local family. For me, it's not super important because I speak English, but for my husband, he's excited to speak English and hear different accents he's never heard before. Like the Scottish accent is so different than mine. It's going to be crazy. So I think listeners who wanted to do this opportunity, they could move to a country and volunteer to practice their English or practice their Spanish if they want to go volunteer in Spain. It's really cool.
Yeah.
In terms of difficulties, we planned our trip around this, so I'm hoping everything goes well and there's no conflict between our host, but you never know until it happens, right? So always plan for contingencies. Like if something goes wrong, make sure you have a backup just in case.
Well, we are crossing our fingers that, of course, that doesn't happen. And Kassy, over the next couple of months, you're going to be gone and you're not going to be able to record with us while you are away in Scotland. So actually, listeners, we are working really hard to prepare a lot of episodes in advance so that you'll be able to hear Kassy throughout the summer. But I think it's good for you to take a little break and just focus on your travel and having a good time and making some nice memories while you're in Europe, Kassy. So we all hope that you have a wonderful experience, and we can't wait to hear about it when you get back. Can you promise to tell us all about it when you return?
Tell you all about it.
All right. So I think we'll wrap up here for our regular episode, but for all of our Culips members, we are going to keep the conversation going for just a little bit longer, and we will do that in the bonus content for this episode. If you're a Culips member, you can listen to that by visiting our website, culips.com, and logging into your membership accounts and making sure that you're listening to the ad-free version of this episode. That's where you'll hear the bonus content. But for all of our other listeners, we will wrap things up here. So Kassy, safe travels, okay?
Yep.
And we'll talk to you when you return.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, please visit our Discord server because it's the place where we'll be discussing this episode with the whole Culips community. And we really can't wait to hear your comments and feedback and what you have to say about this episode. Remember, you can join the Discord server for free just by following the link in the description for this episode. If you like Culips and find us helpful for building your English skills, then please support us. The best way to do that is by becoming a Culips member, and you can sign up and become a member by visiting our website. Once again, it is culips.com. Other helpful ways that you can show your support include leaving a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast app, telling your friends who are learning English about Culips, or by joining us on Discord or following us on Instagram. So that is it for now, but of course we'll be back soon with another brand new English lesson for you all, and we'll talk to you then. Goodbye.